Hello, I'm Michael Mayer from VocalWisdom.com, and in this video I'm going to talk about a concept that I've been talking about for a while now, which is the breath is not the tone. Where this comes from is, well, first let me say, you may hear me say that and think, well, that's obvious. But the reason I first said that was because I'm kind of noticed when I observed singers. A great deal of them, a great high majority of singers that I observe these days, are treating the breath as if it is the tone. In fact, a lot of voice teachers are even kind of, whether they're not necessarily using that terminology, although maybe there have been some that I've come across. But what they're asking their singers to do is essentially treat the breath as if it's the tone. For instance, sometimes we hear people talk about get the breath out there, or even get the breath to the back of the hall, for instance. And what this does is this causes the singer, naturally when we're given a direction, we try to fulfill that. And so if we actually are successful at getting the breath out there, we're essentially forcing the breath through the voice, through the resonator, and out to where it has absolutely no benefit. The first thing that we have to understand when we're talking about the breath, at least in relation to singing, the purpose of the breath is to provide pressure, basically. The voice is a wind instrument in essence, and wind instruments are played through the application of air pressure to the reed or to the vibrating material. In our case, the vibrating material is the folds of tissue inside the larynx. And so the purpose of the breath in the vocal instrument is to feed the vibration of the vocal folds inside the larynx. So it's just logical, right? It's just simple logic that if the breath goes beyond that, goes beyond the larynx, goes beyond the vibration inside the larynx, then it serves absolutely no purpose. And so all of this effort to use the breath and get the breath going and move the breath and send the breath out, all of these things are just encouraging overworking, overforcing the voice. And it's a complete lack of balance. Now I can understand I have singers do a little bit of a sigh as a preparation to try to encourage release in the throat so that there's no holding or grabbing. But when we actually are playing the instrument, we're actually singing, we have to transfer from releasing and loose freedom of breath to the breath going to the vibration. And in fact, to a certain degree, the breath feels like it just goes against the chest. Because we don't want the breath to go through the larynx, because then we'll destroy the vibration, we'll force the voice, we'll mess up the resonance, we'll do all kinds of negative things to reduce the efficiency of our vocalization. And that makes things difficult. It seems like, it seems like that's really easy and really, really healthy and really relaxed. The problem is it's so relaxed that it's out of balance. Okay, so the main thing to understand is the breath is not the tone. The tone is the tone. And what is tone? Tone is acoustic energy in the air, and it originates from the air that's inside the open vocal tract, which is our resonator. Okay, the open vocal tract. We feel the vocal tract by breathing on a sigh, for instance. But then don't sigh when you vocalize. We need to transfer to a good vibration of the larynx to set the air inside there sympathetically into reverberation. Then that is tone. All right, so the air is set into motion through vibration, just like the air inside of an acoustic guitar or a violin. The air inside the hollow body is set into sympathetic vibration by the vibrating of the string. All right, so the vocal cords vibrate, and that sets the air into motion. This air, the resonance, the tone, doesn't have anything to do with the breath. We don't bring the breath up into the resonator. They're two separate, distinct activities, two distinct functions, separate. They're related. The breath feeds the vibration creates the resonance. But they're not directly related. They're indirectly related through the intermediary of vibration. Okay? So the breath is not the tone. So as soon as you can start to conceptualize that more accurately, the more simple the voice is going to become to play. All right, so a quick recap again. We breathe, we suspend so that we don't immediately blow out and try to make the breath into the tone. And then when we start to say what we want to say, the breath reflexively comes to the voice. There's a certain degree of natural behavior to this. And as soon as we deliberately use the breath, we override the natural behavior. And so that's the big thing I want people to start to learn to really understand, is how to behave naturally so you can take advantage of the natural reflexes that are already existing in the body and not override them with tension or with deliberate manipulation. So we breathe, we stop, and then we sing and by saying something, the abdomen will release a little bit to provide some air pressure. It will feed the vibration. The airways stays open, and it will vibrate through resonance. And then we'll have tone, and then we'll have acoustic energy that will go all over into space. Okay? Hope that makes sense. And we can keep building more of our understanding through these tips at the YouTube channel. So I appreciate you subscribing, and keep coming back to VocalWisdom.com. Thanks.